Welcome back. In this chapter, we are going to go through on how to make a scene from scratch. We are going to try to create some gameplay elements using all the knowledge we have acquired so far. And also I will cover some more functionality of each aspect of Unreal. Until this point, we have created materials. We have learned how to apply them and instance them, how to set up the lighting in our scene, how to create blueprints, and how to create interactivity between blueprints and actors. But we did it all on top of an already existing template. What if we want to create something from scratch? So, to do this, let's first of all decide what we want to keep from this creation we already did. If you have any actor or object in your scene you would like to transfer to the next one, keep it in mind. And in my case, I want to take some of these cubes with me to the next level. And I am going to use them as blueprints. So I will just click on it, turn them into a blueprint, switch the name, and just call it cube PM cube. And I'm going to save it. The reason why I'm doing is because I will need it in the next section of the lecture. So, to create a new map, first of all, to keep it organized, create a folder, call it level. And now let's create a new level. You could create a level from here and just click level, but this is always going to be blank, as there is nothing in the level. If you want to have a template for a level, you can click on new level on top, and you will get a choice. Do you want an open world partition level? Do you want an empty open world partition level? Do you want basic or with some assets in it, or empty basics level? The difference between partitions and basics levels are partition levels are usually meant for open worlds which are too big, and you would like to optimize your gameplay by essentially cutting this open world into partitions, essentially parts, to unload and load into game, depends on the proximity or the state of the game. In our case, we are not going to do that. We could just use basic, but I'm going to select empty level to show you how it's done from scratch. Let's click create and save. And now we're in the empty level. It may be hard to see, but there is nothing here other than this grid. And my first idea maybe let's add some light to the scene. But if you just add light, let's say directional light, it will not do much. We need to add the sun, the sky sphere, everything that was by default existing in the previous level. To do this, you need to go to Window and Environmental Light Mixer. Click on it, and you will get this. Let's first create the skylight, atmospheric light. You could edit settings already if you want, but I'm just going to keep them on default for now. Create sky atmosphere, create volumetric crowd, and create height fog. And suddenly we have something very similar to what we had in the previous level. These are just placeholders for in the outliner where we have our light sky. So let's put them all into a folder, and let's call this folder sky light. And next, we are going to learn how to create environment for our scene. There are two ways we can create our environment. First is just to use some basic meshes to create floor, walls like in this previous template. Or you can create a landscape. To create a landscape, click on the top here, selection mode, and click on landscape. You will get this grid on your viewport. And on the left side, we have our options for the grid. This is how big your landscape will be. This may seem small, but if you keep in mind that your meshes should not be too big in the first place, this is quite big. And landscapes are, while optimized, are still a load on your performance. So unless you need them, you should not make them too big. I want this smaller, so let's reduce this size by, let's divide by 2. And divide by 2 again. This is more than enough for me. We could make it smaller, but for now it should be fine. And we can also pre-select our material. So let's select ground. Let's see, grass, gravel. I like gravel better. And let's click on fill world. My apologies. Not fill world. Create. Let's click create. If you click fill world, it will fill the whole world with the landscape, which is not what we want. Great. And now we have a landscape. As you can see, now it's more apparent that it's quite big. But this is too straight. And I want to add some mountains and stuff on the side so I can block vision to make it clear it's not this. There is no sudden end of the earth. This is not a flat earth. So what we can do is we can use sculpt tools. So let's click it, and we have a brush. I want it bigger, so we are going to increase brush size, and I'm just going to click with my left mouse button. Perhaps my brush was too big. Let's increase brush tool strings, and let's just sculpt this landscape just randomly. All I need is to not have an end line that looks bad, and something like this. Maybe a bit more here. And now if you look from this vision, and let's make it bigger here. I by mistake clicked on this spot, but we will fix it. I could Control Z to undo it, but I can also shift click on it to reverse. So instead create this pit here. Or I can click on this flatten tool here on the top and click on it. Now, the way flatten tool works, you click on a spot, and after you move your mouse while you're holding that mouse button, it will flatten them to all. So we will click on here and we will move, and as you can see, everything is being flattened to this point. If I were to click here first and move my mouse around, it would do flatten to the initial position. So now we have this land. Now let's just add random hills and tops, just to kind of fakes that we are making. Let's add one big one here. Maybe it's a bit too big, so let's Let's add some dents on the ground, fall-offs. And now we have a landscape you can use for our purposes. Obviously, this is just something I did in a quick few minutes without putting much thought or effort into it, but you can create anything you want. There's a lot of tools here available to you. You can erode it, you can use hydro to create a simulation of erosion. For example, let's pick this rock here. And you may see it's changing shapes slightly. This is simulating erosion by a rainfall. This one is just erosion from soil moving around from higher to lower. So this is just a lot of tools you can use. You can just use noise, you can select what type of noise you want, etc. You could use height maps if you know how to get them or use them. There are a lot of things you can do and you can create. And for now, we are going to keep it here. And what we can do also, if we don't want to have all just this ground and maybe we want a different color for mountain and maybe we want the higher up to be this gravel, but below some grass, we can do that. For this too, we need to create a layered material, which we will do shortly.